1, 2, 3, 4. Chop, chop, chop.
It's cure of the what now?
Gather the ingredients.
Cure of the what now?
Not much time to prep before it's time to start the show.
Oh!
Guests are arriving.
Cure of the what now?
Everybody's smiling.
Cure of the what now?
A tasty party starting. Now it's time to go. Woo!
Ooh. Served hot and fresh.
Itadakimasu. Hello, fellow economic theorists, and welcome to...
Cure of the what now? Yum! Episode 27, Season 2.
the one show where we all definitely know what capitalism is. My name is Kat, and I'm not a ghost, I'm a beep boop. You can do it!
Excellent. I'm your co-host, Joel, and also, I want to be your favorite host, and I have magic goblin powers, and if you listen to any other podcast, I'll use my power to banish them. Let's go get ice cream.
Oh, no. Episode. We are doing the episode right now. We are in the episode. We usually start out with me asking about news and announcements, or possibly a discussion question. I will say for news and announcements, I don't think any of our listeners are actually in Japan, but if you are and you go see the Delicious Party movie, they're giving away free Kome Kome ears.
Oh.
And I'm wicked jealous. Like, I briefly considered, would it be irrational to fly to Japan just to get the Kome Kome ears and to go to the theater and watch a movie in a language I don't speak?
See, I was about to say it makes much more sense to wait until a child has gone to see the movie and then fight the child, and the winner gets to keep the ears, because I think you could probably take them. But I think the thing that makes it the most unreasonable is the travel time and the expense, which is not mitigated by not seeing the movie if you still have to go to Japan. So, yeah, it's a little crazy. Just a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
But no, we don't really have any news or announcements for this week, so we can just move on into the discussion question. I have recently gotten into Miraculous Ladybug and Cat Noir, I think is the full title of the show. I just call it Ladybug. In this show, there are two heroes who do not know each other's identity. And interestingly enough, in their superhero identities, the boy has a crush on the girl, but then in their civilian identities, the girl has a crush on the guy, but the other doesn't reciprocate. So I'm wondering, could we do a PreCure season in which the two cures for some reason can't know who the identity of the other one is? And does that hook work for anything other than a romantic setting where, like, the end goal is they get together, but, like, they're too emotionally immature before that point to learn each other's identities before?
Delicious Party is kind of doing that with Black Pepper and Yui, but I think if you wanted to do two girls, I think it's possible to do it in a non-romantic way. I really liked your pitch for a season a couple of weeks ago where it was two PreCure who are, like, from different cities, and maybe they don't get along at first.
Sure.
Maybe there's some sort of, like, central high school that they both go to, and they don't know at the school.
The other one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe they're, like, student council president and vice president or something.
Oh my gosh, that would be so great. I like the idea of... This would never work for PreCure, but could you imagine if you actually had two running series that are like PreCure Red and PreCure Blue or something, and like they have their own characters, and so like PreCure Red, they're fighting the evil vegetable team, and then in PreCure Blue they're fighting the evil fruits team, but they like continuously like cross over regularly and that sort of thing.
I think what you've just done is given Netflix ideas. So Netflix, you're gonna have to hire us to be showrunners. We have no experience, but don't let that stop you.
That's never stopped other people before, honestly.
Absolutely.
Sometimes you just say that you have the chops to do something, and then it just kind of happens, and no one calls your bluff. You know, just nat 20 on your deception rolls.
Pop quiz, Joel, is that capitalism? No.
Only if it exploits someone.
Oh, dear. Anywho. What episodes did we watch this week?
Oh, wow. Really short discussion question today.
Sorry. We can keep going.
Well, no, okay, so... In what context, I guess to go back to the second part of my question, what context do you think that would work other than a romantic setting for two characters not like each other, or to not know each other's identities?
I think that you would have to have some sort of relationship between them outside of being superheroes, but I think that could be a rival relationship.
Okay.
I think it could be a friendship. I think it could be, their next door neighbors. Like, it doesn't have to be a romantic relationship, but they do have to have some sort of regular interaction. Otherwise, where does the tension come from?
Absolutely. I like that.
I like the idea of it being rivals, particularly if they grow closer and friendlier as superheroes, but not in their civilian forms. She drives me crazy. I would never work with her. Next scene is them as superheroes, like holding hands to fire their off blast.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I also, so I think in Ladybug, the premise is that no one can know about their secret identities, or else it's basically end of the world. They haven't explicitly said what the stakes are, but like it's very clear. But I think it would be interesting if we were doing PreCure Red and PreCure Blue, or whatever the case may be, pink and yellow. It would be interesting if each of the two PreCure had like a team of friends helping them, and they could even be like different. So like one of them could have like a team that's like a website designer, and then a coder, and then like a person who reads a lot of detective books, and then the other one could have like friends in like the karate club and the punch people really hard club and that sort of thing. But it'd be interesting if there was like a team that tries to like wrong foot the other team. So you could have several episodes where they come this close to figuring out that the other one's a PreCure, but then one of these side characters does like some kind of shenanigans or something to throw them off the trail.
That sounds incredible. I feel like this would actually be really fun to watch if it were real.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like all of the discussions we have, but not everyone I can see being an actual show. This one I can see, and I think I would like it a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll try to have the script for the first episode on your desk by Monday.
Oh, perfect. I've actually been writing my own PreCure season novelization recently.
Okay, excellent. Perfect. Yeah. And then they held hands, and the Rainbow Blast was even bigger than the last Rainbow Blast. Okay, so we have just finished watching Doki Doki episodes 15 and 16. We have finished all of Max Heart, so I have watched episodes 41 through 44 solo, but then Kat and I together watched 45, 46, and 47. And then, of course, we watched the latest Delicious Party episode, episode 25. Woo!
I can't believe we're done with Max Heart.
Yeah, it was a thing.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. Like you said, we're not going to do a big retro like we did for Sweet, but I'm glad we can lay it to rest.
Absolutely. We can put a stake through its heart and put it out into the ocean and bind the coffin in, I can't remember what it was. I'm pretty sure there was a specific step about the binding tools used. Iron chains, probably. But next week, we will be watching 2 more episodes of Doki Doki, so that'll be 17 and 18, and then the next episode of Delicious Party. As Kat has mentioned, we've got some real-life activities that are going to be taking up a lot of our time, and so for now, we will just continue watching 2 series. The one currently airing season, and then whatever else we feel like, so right now we'll finish Doki Doki.
Mm-hmm. I do think we're going to start Splash Star whenever the next new season of PreCure starts, so after we finish Delicious Party. Okay. And if we like it, we'll watch it concurrently, and if we don't, I guess you'll just inject it directly into your veins and barely crawl onto the podcast to discuss your thoughts.
I don't think I can survive doing that to myself a third time, to be honest.
Fair enough. What would you like to summarize for me first?
Let's do Max Heart. You seem pretty excited about saying goodbye to that season. So we had an episode about Fuji P's birthday because they're still not done with his character. Nagisa gives him a present and he's very thankful for it. We had an episode that was Christmas Eve where Nagisa thinks she's going to go on a double date with him, but then it turns out to just be a bunch of friends hanging out. But then she quote unquote confesses her feelings by going to the top of a building and shouting about it in a way that he doesn't hear, but she feels satisfied, and that's the last we see of him, so I guess it was a big freaking deal, I guess. We have an episode about Nagisa and Honoka basically graduating. They don't officially graduate until the final episode of the season, but it's them passing on the torch, and so there's a new lacrosse coach, and there's a new science club leader, and Honoka and Nagisa are sad, but then they get to eat some cake, so everything's good. I can't remember what the A-plot of the next episode is, but, Anyways, Hikari and Boy get trapped in another dimension that I thought was like a new place, but is later clarified to be the Dark Zone, and they want to hold hands. And then the last 3 episodes, take a wild guess. The Dark King comes back, something reasons. Hikari has to become the queen. She doesn't want to become the queen because that would mean saying goodbye to her friends, Honoka and Nagisa. Honoka and Nagisa transform and they punch some bad guys who are like, grr, we are very angry and very bad. And it escalates. The Uruganos, Circulus, and Viblis, I will honor them this once by remembering their names, do like a combo attack where they basically sacrifice themselves to destroy the friendship bracers, whatever the buyer merchandise toy was from mid-season, so that the girls can't fight back, basically, and they are so tired that they can't move, and that's where one of the episode ends. But then in the next episode, they have a dream about their family being like, come on, man, you gotta try your best, and then they get all of their strength back, and the bracers just magically heal themselves, and sure, yeah, why not? The guy formerly known as Nosferatu, Blades, he has become the new Dark King, and he's so powerful that they can't beat him, but they're gonna try to beat him anyways, and they keep punching him, and then the Queen of Light shows up, and they're like, oh no, Hikari, she sacrificed herself, and then the Queen of Light is like, I have saved the world, also Polun and Lalun can change the very fabric of space and time, apparently, and so Hikari comes back.
Hikari's a real girl!
Yay, just like Pinocchio! And that's it. They graduate, and they're like, yay, now the real adventure can begin. Because, like, fighting the evil monster, that's boring. But paying your taxes? Aw, yeah, I'm ready for it. That's where the real excitement lies.
Oh boy. Oh no. They're going off to high school, which in Japanese society is college, I guess.
It's basically equivalent of death.
Whoa! My God, goodness.
I don't know. I don't like stories that end in such a way that it's like, the story continues. No, it doesn't. You told a story with a beginning, a middle, and an end, and you got to the end.
That's why the only real way for stories to end is for everyone to die. Thank you, Shakespeare.
Absolutely. Unless you bring them back in Hamlet 2.
Electric Hamlet-oo?
I don't think they went with that joke, but maybe. Okay, so then we have Doki Doki 15 and 16. 15, you won't be surprised to hear, is another episode about getting one of those royal crystals. And this time it's Makoto's turn. She is acting in a movie. She is Snow White, and the lady playing the evil stepmother, she doesn't have a name, does she?
She's just Evil Queen.
Evil Queen, okay. And the actress playing Evil Queen seems to be a bit of a bitch, which rubs Dobby the wrong way, but then Makoto learns about how important it is to give your all to acting. And then Regina makes her first appearance as a evil general, and it turns out that she can actually just, like, take bad energy and just, like, pump it into someone's heart to create a dark heartbeat, so that makes her extra scary. But they're able to work together, and they're able to get a new combo attack called the Lovely Force Arrows, I believe, and they save the day. Hooray!
Yay!
Now, episode 16, I predicted, would be Mana getting her royal crystal, and then we'd just be missing the last red one. However, this episode does not have a royal crystal, so they broke the trend. That's pretty neat. Regina decides that she wants to be friends with Mana, and Mana agrees, which causes a rift between her and Makoto, because Makoto won't forgive this person who destroyed an entire kingdom. And Mana goes, it was in the past, though. She doesn't really forgive Regina for that, but she's willing to give it a chance. Regina is a goblin who has mysterious powers and can do all sorts of things, and Mana tries to rein her in, and it doesn't work super well, and at the end of the episode, she gets really fed up with Regina's crap and basically says, I really tried to be your friend, maybe next time you could try being a real friend. And then they lay down the friendship beatdown, they defeat the disdain, and Regina goes back to base, and she seems confused by the concept of a real friend. So maybe she's gonna watch some My Little Pony off screen, come back next episode, maybe she'll be a different person. Or maybe she's just evil all the way down. Okay, and then in Doki Doki, the girls decide to go on
You mean Glitter Force?
No, in Delicious Party. The girls go on a camping trip. We find out that Kakone is apparently afraid of ghosts, and there is some rumor...
No, Amane.
Oh, yeah, that's right, it's Amane. Okay. we find out that one of the 4 girls, who are all interchangeable and difficult to distinguish from one another, is afraid of ghosts, and there's a lot of rumors of, like, stuff happening in the woods that seem to be ghost-like behavior. But it's not a ghost, it's a robot, and I should clarify, these girls have distinct personalities. It is Amane who's afraid of ghosts. But this robot guy shows up. He can create even more powerful Ubazows, and they have to fight the Ubazao. And I can't honestly remember like what the big aha moment that allows them to beat the monster is, but they beat the Disdain, and then that's the end of the episode. It seems that this new Bundaru gang member, whose name is Spiritoru, is going to be a threat, and he's powered by a gem that reacts to Mary's pretty gem, or whatever it's called, pretty stone, I think. And those have been your Succinct Summaries!
Good job.
Thank you.
You're welcome, except for the Amane thing. One more slip up like that and you're fired. I will replace you with Pete.
Hey guys, I just wanted everyone to know that Rand's my favorite one from this season.
Really, Pete? Why is that?
I really like her hair. You know, the swirls.
Oh,
it's kind of neat.
That's cool. Yeah, I would have guessed Amane because I know you love the color purple, but...
No, I don't know. Songo radiated cuteness, and Amane, she radiates something else, you know? I fear her a little bit.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair, Pete. Talking to a plush dinosaur aside, Joel, let's get into our brief discussion of the end of Max Heart.
Yeah.
So, you watched a ton of episodes, and I only caught the last 3. At one point, I walked past you, and everyone was forgetting that Hikari existed.
Yeah.
That's because they dragged her to the Darkness Realm for a hot minute.
Yes,
yeah?
absolutely.
How did that resolve? She just left?
She just disappeared. Oh, wait, how did they resolve her being in the Dark Zone? They didn't. Poloon and Laloon turned into balls of light, teleported next to her, and created a giant sphere of rainbows, and then I think she fell back to Earth, but then that was right when the fight started, and so she got teleported to wherever she went as she tried to become the queen.
Gotcha. So. Okay. So you're largely not satisfied with this ending.
No.
Can you, without being overly negative, can you give me your reasons why it didn't end the way you would have wanted it to end?
Well, I get, so... A lot of PreCure seasons have that moment where they lose their ability to transform, or the monster is so powerful that they have no way of knowing how they're going to beat it. And it's good to always show the heroes overcoming that dark moment, and it's good to save that darkest moment for the final confrontation. But you can do it in different ways. You know, do you have one character who, like, is the hope of the group, who, like, picks all the other girls up and says, like, come on, we're going to do this together? Do you have... other characters from earlier in the season show up and, like, protect them in, like, one final moment that allows them to regain their strength? Is there a mentor figure? Sweet, you had all of the girls at one point when they're fighting Noise talking about, like, their character arcs in a single sentence. So Hibiki's like, I'm Hibiki. And then Ellen's like, I used to be a cat. And Naka's like, I used to wear a mask. And
Kanade's like, I used to be a bitch. And all the other girls look at her and go, used to be.
Your frustration with Kanade is well documented. This is not a sweet PreCure episode. I guess the scene where it looks like Nagisa and Honoka are going to die and they can't move and that they failed the world, and Nagisa is crying and Meppa's like, it's been an honor serving beside you, which makes you think that he's a changeling because you didn't think that he was capable of being nice to Nagisa. That worked okay for me. It still felt weird. It felt like we have the power to become PreCure because we really don't want the world to end, which is not any different than how it was a second before they transformed. It only lasts for, like, what felt like 3 seconds, and I was kind of underwhelmed by that. I guess I still just don't know what the appealing factor of Nagisa and Honoka are. And I guess, as you've said before, Nagisa just wants to live a normal school life, so there's a scene of them, like, living in this little pocket of undestroyed Earth, and Nagisa's like, oh man, I could do my homework tomorrow. And Honoka goes, I could really eat some clam miso soup. And, like, I guess they're reflecting on the normal lives that they want to live, but, like, there's no, we believe in dreams, there's no personal growth, there's no I believe in magic, there's no imagination, there's no Kira Kiral. I can't think of every season that I've seen, but, like, I don't know what the theme of Nagisa and Honoka is. And so, like, I just didn't really care about the fight, and it wasn't particularly interesting choreography. But, yeah, I don't know. I guess I was just kind of expecting more from it.
Yeah, I think that's valid. I did think that some of the emotional scenes resonated pretty well. Nagisa and Honoka crying as they realize that Hikari has become the queen, but they're still gonna fight and they're gonna save the world. Like, that was pretty good. I really loved the scene of the two of them being like, we gotta fight the Dark King, right? Yeah, because we're the only ones who can, right? Yeah, that was good. A lot of the choreography was good. You know, I am always excited when they start playing the opening theme during a final battle.
That's true. They did some of our favorite scenes from the opening. So they had Nagisa trying to pull Honoka up from the rubble, and then they had the double kickies where they jump off of something together.
They had the flailing through the air at one point.
They did.
So that was pretty well done. But yeah, I mean, overall, I wouldn't say this is the season I would recommend if someone wanted to know what PreCure is all about.
Yeah, absolutely. They changed the formula later in such a way that I think improved the series. One thing we did find out, and maybe this should go in Heartfelt Messages, but AU pointed out that a lot of times they give little hints for what the next season of PreCure is going to be. And we can talk about that more in depth, but one thing I didn't realize is that Hinata, the hot chicken from the movie, is actually, I believe, from the same fairy world that Floof and Moof are.
Oh.
So that's kind of interesting. And if not from the same world, it at least establishes that there are multiple gardens or whatever they're called, and that they are tied to like different elemental energies, which really fits with them.
No, that's super cool. Moving on to Doki Doki.
Yes.
Do you like Doki Doki this week?
Yes, I really liked Doki Doki this week. It was so good.
I really liked it too. So the thing about Regina that initially appealed to me was that she seemed like a himedare, right? Kind of a princess bitch. And she was written to come across as extremely young and extremely childish in episode 16, more so than I was expecting for the himedare type. And I didn't necessarily care for that. It makes the character less fun for me to watch. However, when Makoto looks at her and is like, she was part of destroying the Trump kingdom, and she goes, I didn't do that, Daddy did. That was just delightful.
See, I don't know. I guess when Regina first showed up, I think you're right that there's a disconnect between, like, her initial appearance and then her reappearance in episode 16 specifically when she tries to become Mana's friend, in that she felt more grown up or competent as an evil villain in those later episodes, and in 16, it seems like she's more childish. But I also kind of like that a bit because it feels like she's sort of like not even really a person. It feels like they took like a wooden figure of a doll and then they just put like a bunch of evil thoughts into it and then it turned into Regina. But I think that's really interesting because like there's times when Mana says like, oh, hey, Rika loves mint flavor ice cream or whatever it is. And Regina's like, why are you talking about your other friends? You have me now. And Mana's like, you can have multiple friends. And like, I don't think Regina understands the concept of multiple friends.
Well, and when you think about it too, children have to be taught not to be selfish. They have to be taught why it's important to value other people. And so, of course, Regina comes across as childish because the world revolves around her.
She's probably never been challenged. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so if your dad is the Greed King or whatever the title is, I should write that down. But is he a loving father? Is he capable of love? Does he have that in his heart? Or is he like an absent father who's just like, here, Regina, here's $5,000, go knock yourself out? Or like, does he encourage the greed factor in her heart?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's a father who embraces whatever serves him, right? So if having a selfish daughter would further the aims of his kingdom, then he'd probably be like, good job, yes, collect more selfish energy for Papa.
Yes, we did our watch together this week again, and James, that one welder guy, was able to join us for watching some episodes of Doki Doki and Star Twinkle. We should give a Star Twinkle update if we have time. But at one point, I made a joke, because Mana is like, hey, listen, yes, Regina's awful. Yes, she's selfish. Yes, she's constantly pulling me away from my friends. Yes, she has, like, Mr. Mexaplex powers to affect the universe around her. But she seems to legitimately like and she seemed to legitimately like having ice cream with me. So I don't think she's all bad. And I made a joke about, well, no one's purely good or evil by birth. They have to learn it, and there's their socioeconomic factors that go into it. Very brief overview. Most people don't want to commit crimes, but they a lot of times feel like they have to because maybe they don't have enough money to make ends meet or something. And so, like, I was just trying to make a generalized joke about societal trends, and like, what if Mana, who sometimes seems very empty-headed, actually understood the term socioeconomic theory or something like that, right? So I was just being flippant, and Magical Girl AU pops in and goes, you might want to pin that comment. It might be relevant later. So if I've accidentally a future prediction, that warms my heart. I'm so glad that I was able to understand this show for children and see some of the flaws. But that also got my brain thinking. Regina has the power to infect people's hearts with selfish energy, even if those hearts aren't corrupted. So, I wonder which came first, the Greed King and then the Regina? Or did Regina have this power, and did she use her magic ray gun on a certain king's heart to turn him into what he is today?
And did she do that because she thought it would get her more attention from her daddy?
Very interesting, very interesting.
Absolutely.
Also, I'm very curious if there's, like, is there a mom involved? Is she also a giant scary tower thing? Does the Dark King reproduce asexually, but then also has the ability to, like, change the sex chromosomes?
He sneezed.
Okay.
And the booger was Regina.
Absolutely. You don't want to know what kind of sibling Regina has from that one time that he ate bad Mexican food and farted.
Podcast canceled. I'm leaving.
No!
I'm going to my mom's house.
PreCure would never make fart jokes or poop jokes. Looking at you, Heartcatch. You're so weird.
I'm having war flashbacks. Okay, let's focus in. I think it would be interesting to see her try to use her power on Mana, because I almost wonder if it wouldn't work.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, because she said, I can make anyone turn evil, and my first thought was, are you sure? Because a lot of times when, like Tropical Rouge, those guys could steal motivation power, and only in very specific circumstances could they affect Manatsu with it. And so I assume it's going to be the same, but I'm very curious.
Something that I would love to see this show explore, but I don't think it will because it's for the age that it's for, is the idea that Regina can do this because everybody is selfish. Like, at their core, there is no such thing as altruism. And Mana could be kind of the,
like the Christ figure? The one who was born without sin?
No, I was looking for, it's the opposite of the word compliment, but she's the opposite of that idea, basically, right? Like, she is selfless in a way that most people are not truly capable of being.
Yeah, so what happened when Regina said, I can turn all people, she wasn't actually saying this is a rule that I know is true. What she's saying is this is a rule that I have never seen broken. Every person I've used this on, through the power of induction, I can assume, since it worked on the last 10 people, it'll work on the next 10 people. And then she tries to hit Mana with the energy beam, and she's like, nothing happened. Do I do it again?
She just keeps doing it again. Also, she doesn't do this the second time, but in episode 15, the way she did her little, like, I'm about to get you dance, I don't know what you call that, but her head pops around the side of the screen like she's saying hello, and then she, like, dances around and fires her laser, and that was cute.
Regina is such a good character. Okay. Here's a thought exercise that I didn't plan on asking. What happens if Regina takes that finger gun, the Evil Eyes Ray, and hits Belle with it? Or hits Ira? Can she temporarily power them up because they're fed by negative energy?
Yeah, maybe they go beast mode or something?
Yeah, maybe.
I'm not really sure. Shout out, by the way, to the generals. Like, I'm delighted by them. They do a skit about being selfish for Regina, and Regina's like, I'm still bored, that was terrible, but I was laughing.
I was laughing at how, like, silly and like, what's the word, stiff they are, because like these people clearly don't believe in bringing joy to other people, and they clearly haven't practiced their comedy routines. So but yeah, we also had an interesting scene where Regina complained that she wanted a specific type of corn, and they gave her the wrong corn, and she wants to find a girl who is like sweet, buttery corn, and you and I were both confused, and we were like, you know what? We have someone in our Discord who knows Japanese culture better than we do, and maybe can understand like the raw Japanese being spoken here, not just the subtitles. So we asked Magical Girl AU, and she basically said, yeah, Regina's just not making any sense. It doesn't mean anything. So Regina's just still a little bit of a little random girl, you know?
Yep, absolutely.
How did you like Makoto's stint as an actor?
I thought it was pretty good. I think that, the core of this season is learning empathy and learning to care about other people. So Makoto is an idol for her own ends. She's trying to use that reach and that visibility to find the princess. And so she's acting for the same reason. But this older actress points out to her, we have all of these people who work behind the scenes, and we have the people who wrote the script, and we have the people who are going to watch and are looking forward to the movie. And if you don't do your best, you're stepping on all of their feelings. And Makoto, decides to embrace doing her best for all of those people. And so I like that it's not just the bad guys who are learning to be selfish. Or selfless.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that. I like the fact that Dobby is so protective of Makoto and is getting mad and I'll scratch that girl's face if I need to teach her a lesson for speaking to Makoto that way. But Alice, as we've established, her dad basically owns every company that's ever going to be important in this series. And so she... At one point, Makoto is not delivering her lines correctly, and the evil queen chooses not to go on stage because she doesn't think Makoto's taking this seriously enough. And Mana and Rika get really upset. They're like, oh, that's so mean to Makoto. But Rika is there, geez Louise, Alice is there going... No, but you do have to give it your all, and if you're not going to put your effort into it and you bring your personal baggage onto stage, it's just not going to be a very good product. So she's the person who actually is able to speak to how it should be handled in a professional setting, and I appreciated that.
Absolutely.
Appreciate that a lot. I will say that they put a little bit too much effort into making it seem like the queen was actually evil. The actress was a little bit too snooty, and I'm not sure why they went in that direction, other than maybe to set up drama at the beginning of the episode where Dobby's she was really mean to Makoto, and so we're worried about how she's going to be. But then it turns out no, she just has regular concerns. She's just an actress trying to do her best job. But I liked the episode okay. I definitely... Regina trying to befriend Mana was where it was. It was where it's at for me. I really liked that episode.
Absolutely. And I love that Mana was willing to give her a chance because, of course, she would be.
Mm-hmm.
How did you feel about the struggle between Makoto and Mana, or Makoto and Regina? Do you think Makoto was being unreasonable, or do you think it was unreasonable of Mana to say, no, forgive this person who is part of the group that genocided your whole country?
Yeah, it's hard to say, because, are all orcs evil? Well, I mean, I guess in the case of orcs in J.R.R. Tolkien, yes, they're made of evil. But, a lot of fantasy stories try to stay away from the trope of a pure evil race these days, because it's just that doesn't make sense. There's no such thing as a race of beings that are just pure evil. And so, if the idea is that Makoto is being too harsh and judging Regina by the sins of these other people, because Regina didn't attack the city or anything like that, then I could kind of see it. And I could also see Mana's point that you have to try to give everyone a chance. Ira shows up and he's basically kicking puppies. Marmo shows up and she's basically drowning kittens or whatever. And then Belle shows up and he's, they're being awful people. Regina shows up and all she does is she's like, let's be friends. And it's well... let's see where this is going, I guess, maybe. But I do understand Makoto's frustration, and I do think that there was... Mana thinks about the idea of becoming Regina's friend and agrees relatively quickly. Let's call that 3 seconds is how long it takes her to kind of internally struggle with it, and then she agrees. But she doesn't tell Makoto, maybe we should give her a chance. Maybe she might become our friend and then be less evil because of it. She just kind of like expects Makoto to sort of like agree with the decision, and so I think they could have communicated better about their different motivations. But no, I'm glad that this isn't going to be a multi-season or multi-episode arc where like Makoto leaves the team and they have to like win her back or something like that. I could see another series doing something like that.
Absolutely. Do you have any other Delicious Party / Glitter Force thoughts?
Delicious Party or Doki Doki?
Yeah, Doki Doki.
That one.
You knew what I meant.
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to check. You called me out for making that mistake earlier, so I just want to see if...
The problem is that they both start with D. Come on, PreCure, get it together. This isn't my problem.
Absolutely. I really like that Regina does seem to like I. Now, there's two ways that this could play out. Again, I have very little foreknowledge of what's going to happen later in the series. I could imagine a cynical version of Regina is excited about I because if she can corrupt I, then she'll rule the world or something and she can taint the power of love. But I also think that her being delighted by I speaks to the fact that maybe she can be redeemed. You know, we've had a couple of different mid-season Kiers so far who have shown up and seemed evil, but been about the right age to be a PreCure, and then would you look at that? They become a PreCure. So I'm curious to see if Regina gets a redemption arc, how it's handled, and where the story's going. I would like a few more episodes of her being chaotic gremlin before she's kind of quote-unquote tamed, I guess. Like, if she becomes a PreCure, she probably will be less gremlin mode, because gremlin is selfishness. So let's have a few more episodes to kind of enjoy that from a we enjoy the Joker very much kind of perspective, but then give her a redemption arc, and I think there's some fertile ground there for some narrative.
Absolutely.
Okay. Delicious Party, I think?
Delicious Party, yeah.
Yes, milady. We have a nice serving of roasted corn, and...
Is it haunted corn? I gotta go.
Wait, but you're the ghost host.
Look, some people don't like other people. So it stands to reason that some ghosts might not like other ghosts.
Okay, fantastic.
Did you like this episode?
It was all right. The robot was both what I expected and not what I expected. Last episode, I was trying to be like, okay, what's Narsatoru's kind of plan? And I joked about him having a vampire form or something, or like a werewolf form, and I still think that would be really cool. But that's like a one-off in case they're going to write him off the show. And it seems like they really don't want Secret Taro to like go on the front lines. So him building a robot, since we already know he's an inventor, that makes sense. The fact that it uses a delicious stone makes even more sense why he didn't use this initially, why he didn't just build the robot episode 1, because what if the good guys reclaim it? It gives us an idea as to like what they're going to do to the robot. They'll yank the stone out. But I mean, I don't know. Overall, the episode itself didn't really have any meat on the bone, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, so far this season, really none of these episodes have.
I guess that's true.
I don't think this is a very substantive season. Maybe a little more so than Tropical Rouge, but not compared to, Kira Kira, for example.
Yeah, I could see that. I guess I'm thinking of like Ron's episode where she thinks that maybe she has to stop using Twitter because the bad guys are using it. Like, I thought that was an interesting place to take and develop her character. Or the episode where Takumi finally becomes Black Pepper or whatever, and you get the flashback with his dad and like the time he used the stone and it went kind of wrong, but then so I think there are some episodes that are slightly more substantive than this one. This one just kind of felt like, let's just hang out at a park. And it's good to have those episodes every once in a while, but they're very rarely my favorite unless they're doing like a lot of wacky hijinks, and there just wasn't quite enough of that, It's not quite story heavy, but it's not quite hijinks heavy either.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. I wish that they had done a little more with Amane being afraid of ghosts. Like, we've seen that plot point before with Manatsu and with Ellen from Sweet, and I just liked it better in those. Like, it was funny. Amane is just, oh, I'm spooked by ghosts. Never mind, there's no ghost.
Yeah, it didn't really, like, it would be greater if the robot had somehow overheard this and was, like, using it against them. Like, imagine if we didn't know, because they play up Secret Toru, like, what he looks like, or not Secret Toru, that's her, Spiritoru. They play up this, like, what does Spiritoru looks like? Beginning of the episode, Narsatoru builds him and puts him online, and we didn't see his form. Then there's some people talking about a robot that, or a creature that was making some weird sounds, and we only see the shadow of what he looks like. It? They? He? I think he has a male voice. So
I'm pretty sure he uses Boku.
I'm going to say he pronouns. But I think, what if we had a couple of episodes where they didn't see the new general? And so, like, he was doing things to mess with the team, and they had to, like, get to the center of it, and only after, like, trying to figure it out for a couple of episodes did they actually get face-to-face with the new, with Spiritoru. And this episode could have been the episode where he messes with Amane by making it seem like they're ghosts or whatever. But yeah. Oh, I will say his attitude as a robot kind of surprised me, because he's sort of like this, like, let's go get him, Tiger. You can do it. You can win. And so, like, yeah, that's kind of neat.
I almost wonder if giving him the delicious stone imbued him with some of the spirit of whichever warrior it was taken from.
Oh,
and so
okay.
maybe he's not, like, actually inclined to be a bad guy. Let me talk really quick about what he does. So Amane steals the peepees and it makes the food taste bad. Narsatoru steals the peepees, it makes you forget your memories attached to the food. Spiritoru steals the peepees and the food turns into Minecraft.
Yeah, it just kind of turns like square
It's just
shapes.
shapes, it's blocks. And I guess what they're going for is that, you know, you eat with your eyes first, right? Visual appeal is a hugely important part of food and eating. So it's very, like, bland and basic to be presented that way. And it seemed like the girls and all the people were unhappy with it. And he does say, like, enjoying food is a waste of time. You have other things you could be doing. So, you know, I just want to introduce this robot to, like, the creators of Huel and Soylent. Like, go assist them, because that was their philosophy.
Super efficient. Yeah, no, I totally get that. I wonder if they could have also sapped, like, the color from it, like if it just became gray cubes. I think that would be even better at taking it to, like, the this food is unrecognizable kind of level. But I don't know. Sometimes a video game or a show or whatever will be like, this is going to be a movie that explores what if pandas and sharks had to team up together, and you're like, what? And then you watch it and you're like, oh my gosh, they actually made some, like, piercing commentary about art and society and relationships between different people of different ages and different ethnicities and different age groups and stuff. And you're like, I didn't expect that from the description, pandas and sharks getting together. And so when we were speculating about what Delicious Party might be like, and we knew it was going to be food themed, but we didn't know how, and we already had Kira Kira, I was a little like, I wonder how they're going to be able to flesh this out for 40 episodes. And now we are getting robot that turns food into cubes and thinks that eating is a waste of time, even though that doesn't... Okay. And I feel like maybe this is one of those times where I was right to be suspicious that they didn't have a deeper plan for, you know, what if we did food?
Absolutely. I am looking forward to the reveal for what the next season's theme is going to be. We are almost to reveal season.
Yeah, absolutely. That's usually in September when the copyright is filed on the whatever.
Absolutely.
Okay. Do you think taking the Delicious Stone out of Spiritoru turns him off?
Yes.
Okay. Do you anticipate them grappling with the fact that they are killing a sentient being, or do you think they're eventually going to win him over and he's basically going to kind of like, I give this to you willingly, I give up my life of evil so that another cook warrior can be born?
I think half the team will advocate for just taking it, and Yui probably will be like, no, don't, that's not nice, and through her efforts, Spiritoru will give it up willingly.
Okay, I like that. We also know that the different girls have different strengths, and, like, I don't know why my brain was just like, Ran in the robot, but, like, what if Ran becomes friends with Spiritoru somehow, like they have like a bottle room episode or something like that, and maybe Ran teaches the robot about like creativity and imagination, and the robot's like, I have so many good ideas now, and then he becomes a good guy who fights on their side.
I love that. What if he worked at her restaurant like after the season was over?
I really like that. I hope that we keep Spiritoru for the next 11 seasons.
Can we agree now that as a Pokemon trainer, Narsatoru would have a Golurk?
Yeah, now we absolutely can, for sure. Maybe a Clink and a Clank or something as well, or a Clink Clank, whatever the final form of that evolution line is called. But I think that's about it for Delicious Party, so now we can move on to Thoughts from the Crew, Doki Doki Love Messages.
Beep boop!
Now, James, that one welder guy, famously a fan of The Simpsons, and when I read this quote, I felt like maybe it was a Simpsons episode, but I don't know, and I haven't asked him to clarify. So if this is an original thought from James, it's a good thought, but it also sounds like it could be a Simpsons quote of the day, right? But Delicious Party, Yui says, Mary, I didn't know you had a driver's license. And Mary, I don't. Can you believe they still let me rent this car, though? That just cracked me up.
That's delightful, yes. I love the idea of Yui and Ran being very empty-headed about it, and Amane, like, looking worried in the backseat.
Yes, absolutely. We also, shout out to what is probably the best shot in this episode. It's the energy fairies wearing sunglasses in the car at the very beginning of the episode.
They're so cute. Oh my god. I cannot get over how much I love the fairies for this season.
They're pretty great. For Doki Doki, episode 15, James was very confused as to why an actress would get a say in how a scene should go, because unless she was also the director of the movie. Now, there's a scene where Makoto delivers a line, and it's better than her initial delivery, but she thinks she can deliver it even better. So she asks, one more take, please. And if that's what James was talking about, I'm pretty sure it is. I don't know. I feel like maybe if she asks nicely enough, she gets a little bit of a say.
No, see, I think he was talking about the evil queen being like, not good enough, I'm not recording today, and leaving.
Yeah, absolutely. That, definitely I could see who gives her the right to decide that, but at the same time, if you were recording Thor, Love and Thunder, and then Chris Hemsworth was just like, I'm not coming on set, what are they going to do? What are they going to do? Are they going to get one of his brothers up on stage in the Thor costume?
One of the lesser Hemsworths?
But you know what I'm saying? Like, if she refuses to go on stage, what are they going to do about it? But I do agree, why would an actress decide whether or not to be part of, your job is to go up on stage and to act the best you can, whether or not other people are acting as well or whatever. Absolutely.
And of course, James shares the all hail Regina.
Regina! What, Regina? So, we now have the Holy Trinity. We have, Regina the Goblin, Karurun the Savior, and Hami the Perfection. So, we've now completed this church service. We all bow and give thanks to these three wonderful creatures.
It is right to give thanks and praise.
Absolutely. AU's thoughts were on Delicious Party, and it was that it's incredible. It's so ridiculous. There's no precedent for there to be a robot villain, and yet here we are. She loves PreCure. Now, I would say, haven't we had a robot villain? Does an android not count? Is this like the first built from nuts and bolts robot general that we've had?
Yeah, I think what AU was trying to say was that there was no precedent in Delicious Party.
Okay, yeah, that makes much more sense.
All of a sudden, we just have robots, and I think that's a fair take.
Yeah.
They also thought the conversation about enjoying food being a waste of time was interesting. Here's how I responded to this scene. I responded to this scene with, he's goddamn right. I hate the amount of time it takes to think about food, to cook the food, to eat the food, to clean up after eating the food, and I hate that you have to do it at a minimum twice a day. Maybe more, depending on, your blood sugar levels and everything.
Dietary need, yeah.
If I could just photosynthesize, I would just go for my little lunch break walk once a day and I'd be happy.
Yeah, and I mean, I can kind of agree with that, but at the same time, maybe that attitude becoming more prevalent, and the option for quick eat through a McDonald's, for example, maybe that's leading to less healthy choices. So maybe PreCure has a obligation, trying to mold young minds to try and talk about the advantages.
That's true. And the thesis for this season does seem to be, food brings people together. It's an important part of how we share our emotions with one another. Mm-hmm. And so, like, if everybody thought like me, can you imagine if you went to a celebration and there was, like, no birthday cake?
Yeah, there was
you all just stood around looking at each other.
There was a block of like soy protein, and it is exactly measured out so that each person gets their appropriate amount to meet their caloric needs.
Did they ask you to bring a vegetable loaf, or did they ask you to bring a cake?
See, that's absolutely right. But what I will say is that, okay, so Spiritoru, when I saw that he was like this clonkin' robot, he doesn't move very fast, it doesn't seem like. He seems to be modeled after a turtle, maybe, but I could be wrong on that. But he doesn't seem to be the stereotypical, I am a robot 0101 scanning for delicious food. He seems to be has more of a personality. But his enjoying food is a waste of time does feel like a slight nod to a robot's interpretation of, like, maximum efficiency. I think you nailed it on the head when you mentioned, like, the Soylent Green product. By the way, why would you name your product in real life based off of a product from a horror movie that is supposed to be horrifying? Anyways, but
you're talking about it, aren't you?
I'm talking about it.
Why would you name the competitor to that Huel? That sounds like somebody throwing up. Like, I get it's supposed to be like fuel plus something else, but where the heck does the H come from? Why not just call it fuel?
Human fuel.
I'm an idiot.
You're not.
I'm gonna go to Minecraft. I'm gonna go to the highest point in Minecraft, and I'm gonna jump
I
to
built
the
a
lowest
tower.
point,
Oh no!
but not into water.
Oh, that's bad though. I think that it's an interesting point, kind of like A was talking about. I think that there's some debate to be had about the merits of it. I hope that it gets fleshed out, and I hope that they continue to argue with him about it. They never really challenged Narsatoru's narcissism, other than saying, like, we're not really excited that you're here, but they never really dealt a blow to his ego, which I kind of was expecting. Like, if he showed up and he's like, I'm so great, and then they, like, scoffed his shoes or something, or like he's like, no one can touch me, and then Amane just punches him, like he'd have a moment of like, oh, you hit me. So I hope that they're actually able to challenge the robots, like, here's why eating food is good, actually.
Absolutely. Moving on to the final piece of our episode, predictions for the future, looking ahead.
It's another dumb episode title.
I actually think this one might be the least dumb.
Okay.
Because it tells me what the episode is about. The episode is called Kokone's Promise, Challenging King Green Pepper. Now, we all know that green peppers are gross. And there's always a character in PreCure who's like, I don't like this food. And everyone else is like, you should eat that food. Like, Love didn't like carrots in fresh PreCure. So, obviously, Kokone's like, peppers are yucky, and she is right to do so. And someone's like, no, you have to challenge that assumption. You have to give everything a try. And she's like, okay, I promise I'll try. Maybe she tried one as a child and didn't like it, and someone was like, your tastes change as you get older. Try it again. And so that's why she's coming back to challenge him.
Now, here's the thing. Kokone's Promise, good. That's a, great episode. Premise, having a character who made a promise and they need to fulfill it. Cool. Challenging King Green Pepper is silly to me. It makes me think that there's a kid in Kokone's class who dresses up as a green pepper, and he has an OC called King Green Pepper, and she's going to challenge him to hopscotch or something. Like, it's that second part of the title that makes me irritated, and I'm not sure I'm conveying exactly why, but it doesn't feel like it's a food problem. It feels like there's, like, a person named King Green Pepper. So, like, it's a little silly in a way that PreCure can be silly, and I don't actually hate it. I'm playing it up a little bit, but at the same time, what a strange way to phrase it. I hope we learn more about this mystic green pepper person.
Absolutely.
You know what? I hope that King Green Pepper is the taller, skinnier, younger brother of the shorter, stouter King Red Pepper. And maybe they can team up together to save the Princess Parsnip, who has been taken by the fire-breathing turtle dragon.
That's been
your do final thought. Outro goes here. Thanks for listening, everyone, and don't forget to high five your favorite robot today.
That's capitalism, baby. Thank Thank you all for joining us for another delicious plateful of
Cure of the What Now.
Please take a moment to rate and review wherever you get your podcasts from.
Or if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to leave a comment, a like, or lick that subscribe bell so you know when the new episodes are going up.
Did you just say lick it?
Well, yeah, we're baking delicious foods. It's a delicious party.
Anyway, you can find me on Twitter at Pirate Ghost Host. Please don't lick me.
Can you even lick a ghost? I'm on Twitter at Cotwin_pod.
KOTWN_pod.
Absolutely. And as always, the Discord link is in the Twitter bio and also in the YouTube description.
Come join us for weekly discussions, streams, and all of the PreCure your heart can handle. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Yum. Or no, I'm full!